So a little video about parasites, okay, and how to transcend, or shall I say your journey, or everyone's journey, is about transcending their food, okay, and taking it to a higher level. That's the most simplest thing. Transcending food to a higher frequency. So then the food then transcends itself into a higher frequency. For us to eat it, then we become higher. Okay, so let's talk about parasites first. So we've just done a fast, a 6-day fast. So we eat holistically first. So it's just whole foods, so foods that know themselves. And we try to keep living foods, alive foods, not GMOs or anything like that. We try to stick to this, like avocados. We just do the best we can, mangoes. So we do that first of all. Then after that, we then go into a juice fast, 3 days, and then we go into a water fast for the next 3 days, so distilled water. So obviously, the earth where I live in England, we have 4 seasons. Okay, so our fasting comes every quarterly. So as the energy changes in the earth where I live, I change with the energy. So then I become an antennae and I create space inside myself for any energy changes, any energies that I can receive as well, and just to create space for myself to be myself. So just take control of my vessel again, that's all. So like I'm then the steerer of the ship, being on my vessel. So I just want to give you a little guide on parasites so that you can look into. So you should have a protocol for parasites. Now, parasites only exist in this dimension because there is death. Okay, so they're a running. Think of it like they're a running program, and the idea of them is to destroy death. Okay, to create soil. So you can look at them as they are the soil. Okay, they're the fertilizer for us to then have another experience, another growth. But they cling on to anything which is dying. So if a parasite thinks that you're dying, it's going to come and get you. Okay, it's the same as flies. Okay, just look at a fly. If my fruit starts dying, I then end up getting fruit flies. Okay, I don't get the other flies on the fruit flies are there. And death, you get different kind of bugs, different kind of creatures and crawlies go over the corpse and start to rotten down. So there is a purpose for it. Okay, so like I know that people say parasites are really bad and this, that. Yes, they are bad if they're inside of you, because that means you are dying. Okay, so you need to correct that. So you must be eating death food. So not that I want to go into that because everyone has their own journey. Okay, so I just want to explain just a couple of detailed things on how parasites work. So remember, you're trying to transcend food to a higher frequency with your intelligence. Okay, so then when your food comes into you, you then transcend into a higher frequency. It's pretty simple, right? That's our experience. Back in the days when we were having an astro body experience, so like you can say all the generations before us, or the ancient civilizations where they were able to manipulate matter, we were then created obviously to have a physical experience. Okay, maybe one of the first times or the second time, whatever it is, we're now physical. Okay, but we think spiritually. Okay, so our brain thinks like out of the air. I don't need to explain that. Okay, nothing's scripted here. Whenever I do a video, I never script them. So sometimes I go off point and come back. But my rule of thumb is anything that you can see here physically exists in the spiritual realm. Okay, parasites live here like a program. They are designed. Okay, now they do have communities. Okay, and they do want to exist here. So they will control an environment, control an organ, so that it can take ownership of that organ to create its own environment. Saying this, what literally happens normally is that a parasite will go down generations of bloodline. Okay, so you could find wherever you live or wherever you're born, you'll be born into an environment where a parasite was already inside of you. So I'm half Italian, so that I knew a lot of my bloodline, they'd be eating raw meat. Okay, and me knowing, transcending, me knowing that parasites live onto raw meat, I know that my mum and dad or my family, my bloodline, could quite possibly have parasites. And if there is parasites, they're going to be, when I'm in the womb, I'm going to be fed the parasite. Okay, and I'm going to have it as well. So then when I come out, then it's all about feeding that parasite and slowly growing it. Now, also, parasites can be involved in areas of void. So if you look at an example of, like, you know, them houses that you drive past all the time and no one lives in there, they haven't been living there for ages, and there's a house on the left hand side or right hand side and no one's been there, so then the grass starts getting long and then you start to have climbers on the wall and it just starts to look run down. Okay, now we're the guardian angels, so our job, not only to transcend food and have this experience, is to transcend ourselves as well. And we have the ability to create heaven on earth. So with our hands. So we can make a place look beautiful, or we can make it look absolutely disgusting. But we have that ability. Other animals don't have that. So knowing that, if you leave this house here, leave it, it will start to corrode and start to get parasites, fungal, you'll have lots of creepy crawlies around it, and it'll start to break down that house. And it won't look the same as any other houses which have been looked after. It's the same thing. So then you're going to have things living in that house, okay, because no one's living there. Now I'm living in there and I'm looking after that house. Nothing can come through that door because I've kept it clean and I've controlled the environment in a godlike form, okay, created environment. But if no one's living there, someone else will take that. That's what they talk about, the witches, okay. So then this is the same thing when it comes to traumas in your life. So when you're a child and you go through something which is traumatic, and your body was there, sometimes something leaves the body, okay, something leaves the body, a little bit of you, and you're not aware of it, okay, so you might not be so connected to your liver, okay, or your kidney, or you might not be so connected to your hips. Okay, and for example, with this as well, it's like mastery. Some people will go to the gym and they can't do certain things because their balance is all over the place, because they haven't mastered their balance in the gym. They might master it somewhere else, but not in the gym. So like, this is taking ownership of your body. Okay, so taking all the light particles that you have inside of you, which would be your nervous system, and being in control of your nervous system. Okay, okay. But if you create a void and it's always ignored, okay, what happens is a parasite is like that house. It's going to live inside that house, okay, and it's going to thrive there because that's what it likes. So it takes ownership of that place, and it will have your liquid consciousness, your blood, which will go into it, and it will feed it, okay. And then once it gets to a certain level, obviously it loves multiplying. It will then start to take control of your vessel, okay, and it will make you do things that potentially you wouldn't have done before, okay. But remember, you've got to transcend your way of thinking. You've got to transcend it, okay. You have to go into that house and clean it. So these parasites, obviously with numbers, and then once they start growing, they need a feed system. Okay, so they need something to be fed on. So like, you could have a karmic relationship. You and your partner could have arguments, knowing that you both turn to a certain bad practice, but the parasite enjoys that bad practice. So it creates this karma in your life, and it creates this argument and tension. It could be quite comfortable, like it could help you earn money. Okay, so when you start to earn money, because there's a drive, it wakes you up because it needs you to earn money, because it needs to be in the environment it is, because it wants to survive. It's very clever, very clever. But what you have to realize, we all got parasites, okay, we've all got parasites, but there's a hierarchy of them and there's a control of them. because it's a system that runs consistently. Okay, again, if you want to go further into it, think it a bit like this. A parasite is in a physical form, it's inside your body. So like, for example, if I grab my phone and I text, so in my head, I think about texting someone, and then I text someone like my partner, Shiv. I text her, and I text her a lovely message, and then she picks it up, she reads it, and she feels what I've wrote. Okay, so like I've gone from picking a word in my head, which came from nothing, into the physical form of writing, which is emotional, and then it goes to Shiv, and then Shiv feels how I felt. Okay, so these parasites can live in them environment. So if you create a harsh environment, that person's not going to feel great, and that person's going to turn to things. So this is how clever the parasite is. So I just wanted to give you like a way of thinking about parasites in a way of taking control of areas that you've left and you've not addressed, like that house. Okay, so you want to go back into that house, okay, and take ownership of it. Right? Once you start taking ownership in it and cleansing it and cleaning it, okay, you then take the ground back. Okay, it's like having a fight, okay, and you got to do it at different angles. You can't go direct at it, okay, because you would think that you've won first of all, and then slowly progress somewhere else. You have to go at different angles, and you've got to go with knowledge. You've got to go with your knowledge. You don't just go in there with guns blazing like a frontliner. You should be shot straight away. So you have to go in there with knowledge, and knowledge is all around you. Okay. So alkaline is great. We don't want to be too alkaline, because obviously like, you start getting moss, and then it turns into bleach. So you just have to start looking into it. There's so many great people out there and who can give you this knowledge. I mean, I can give you a certain amount of knowledge, but there's others who give you other knowledge. But like, I always feel like I'm the bridge. I try to help people on their physical conscious level into the spiritual realm, and then you have someone much more advanced than I am about the spiritual realm, okay, who looks into letters, numbers, synchronization. These are like fifth dimensional beings. Okay, I could say that I'm a fourth and a fifth dimensional being, but these are like up there. Whoa. Anyway, so that's kind of like what I just wanted to talk about just quickly, so that you're fully aware of what the fast is all about. You're fully taking ownership of who you are, and you're taking control of an environment for you to transcend. But you must transcend your food for you to transcend, and you must stretch your body out and create space in yourself to be yourself. And at the same time, you must take down these organisms that are inside of your body, okay, which are running the ship. Okay, if you've got that, get in there, clean it out. Okay, love you, lovely event.